Hey, hello everyone, Arpit here. This is the first episode of Arpit Daily Talks, where you will get your daily learning dose. So this is the first episode. So first of all, I just wanted to give a quick introduction about this learning series and about me. So if I talk about this learning series, so this learning series is all about, whatever I'm learning on the daily basis, and whatever experience I am gaining it from my live projects, whatever tips I just wanted to share with you. So this is all about that. And I just wanted to focus. So since I have been working with Microsoft technologies, so I will focus more on sharing knowledge related to the Microsoft Dynamic 365, Microsoft CRM, Power Platform, Azure, and so these kind of technologies I'm going to share here. So I'm really glad to have you on my YouTube channel, and I just wanted to thank you, all of you, those who have shared the feedback on my last learning series. So if you are new to this YouTube channel, or if you are watching my video first time, I have created a learning series that is called Power Pages 30 Days Learning Series. And that series was all about Power Pages, where I have created 30 videos that covers everything related to the Power Pages from basic to advanced. So if you are willing to learn the Power Pages, that is one of the product of Power Platform. So you can watch all those videos. Okay. So first of all, I just wanted to uh, introduce myself. So this is the first video. So just wanted to give a quick introduction about me. My name is Arpish Srivastav. I am 3 times Microsoft MVP awarded and the 3 times Microsoft certified trainer. I've been sharing knowledge with the community since 2019. You can find me on the internet with the name Arpit Power Guide. So you can follow me, subscribe me, so that you will be notified whenever I will share any awesome content on my community channels. All right. So if I talk about like what kind of content I am going to discuss about it in this RP Daily Talks. So the RP Daily Talks is basically all about the Microsoft technology. Since I'm experienced in the Microsoft technology, so I will be discussing about the Microsoft 365, Azure DevOps, Dynamic 365, Power Platform, and the Microsoft Copilot AI. So like there is a lot of buzz around the artificial intelligence these days. So yeah, I have a lot of interesting information about the artificial intelligence, chat GPT, generative AI, Copilot, and all. So in my last, so I was last week I was in Brussels, so I have given session on the artificial intelligence chat GPT as well. So soon I will share some of the information about the chat GPT as well. But I don't want to jump into the advanced topic straight away. I want to focus first on the beginner level. So since this is the first video, so I will focus more on the fundamental parts, and then gradually we will move into the advanced topic. Okay. Now, if you have the question like who will benefit from this learning series, so this course or this learning series is for the everyone. So basically, if you are the beginners, then you have recently started working in the Dynamics or the Microsoft Power Platform, or you are planning to start your career in the Dynamic 365 or in the Power Platform, then this is a very this series will be very useful for you, because I will share a lot of fundamental topics that will help you to enhance your knowledge. Experienced people will definitely get beneficial with this course, because they can also expand their knowledge. Sometimes some of the experienced people are planning to switch their technologies, so it is very helpful for them as well. And if you are planning to move from one organization to another organization, and you need assistance to help preparing for the interviews, then definitely I'm going to share a lot of fundamental topics here, a lot of useful tips for you, so that will definitely help you crack the interviews as well. Okay. Well, so let's jump into our first episode, or the first topic of the Arpit Daily Talks. So the learning dose of the day is cloud platform. Okay, so today I just wanted to discuss about the cloud platform. Now, there are a lot of, because I've been working with the Microsoft technologies, and most of the application are the cloud-based application. And even not in the Microsoft, even if you talk about any other technologies, most of the things you today see as a cloud platform, right? Most of the apps, most of the technologies you see it are the cloud-based technologies, because as you know, like uh, today is the most of the things are digitalized these days, and most of the organization are digitalize their systems. They want to have everything set up on the cloud. So cloud platform is one of the most important thing that you need to understand first, because going forward, if we'll discuss about the Microsoft Dynamic 365 or the Power Platform, those technologies are also related to the cloud platform. Okay. Now, before understanding the cloud platform, one of the basic question that every organization has whenever they have to develop any software. So, what are the essential requirements that any organization has when they are asked to develop the software or business application for their clients? Okay, so I just wanted to you know start our discussion from very basic. Any organization. So let's say you or me are running any organization, and I got the requirement from one of our customer or the client that I want to develop this particular web application, or the this particular software I want to develop. So being an organization owner, or being a the company owner, what is the basic requirement you will have to start developing the software? Okay, so the first thing that is needed is setting up the infrastructure. Okay, so infrastructure is the foundation of any organization, because unless you have the data center, you have the server, storage, networking, security devices available, you will not be able to proceed with the development, right? So the first thing is the groundwork. You have to do it. You have to set up the data center, you have to set up the server, you have to set up the storage where you're going to store the data, you have to set up the networking things, because like networking is also very important, that how the data will be transmitted between the network. So you need the networking requirements as well. You need the security setup, because you're going to store the customer data, that how you're going to manage the security. So the first thing is the setting up the infrastructure. Okay, now the second thing, once your infrastructure is ready, you have to develop the application. So you hire the the development team, and that development team will have your developers, your testers, your DevOps engineers. So once your infrastructure is ready, then you have to develop the application. Now, in order to develop the application, there are a lot of phases are there. So you know about the ALM, that is application lifecycle management. So this development application phase will have all the ALM process, like you have the build cycle, you have the testing of the software, you have to deploy that software, right? So the second requirement is to develop the application. Once your application get developed successfully, then you deploy that application so that your end user can start using those apps using the internets. Okay, so these are the basic three phases, or these are the basic three, the essential requirements when any organization get the requirement to start developing any software or any application. Now in this whole process, the first thing is required, that is infrastructure. Second requirement is the platform, and the third thing is your custom apps, that the application that you have built. Okay, and to do that, you have done some groundwork, that is called infrastructure setup. Then you have development, so you have developed that apps. Then your app is ready to use. So I have given very real life example of construction site, so that you can imagine. So for example, like if any construction site or any organization wants to build a building, they first need to set up the groundwork. Then they need the development tools, right? So that they need the development engineers, they need the civil engineers, they need the development tools who can construct the site. And then finally, once they develop the site, they are ready to use, where you can simply move in and start living in there. Okay, so same like the construction site, you have the software development lifecycle as well. Now, why I'm talking about this? Because now organization have two choices to manage the resources to develop the application or software, right? So if organization get the requirement to develop the software, they need to set up the infrastructure, they need to set up the platform, then only they will be able to deliver the application to the end user, right? So organization have two choices. The first choice is that they set up everything in their own premises. Okay, because if you need to set up the data centers, servers, networking, everything, so the first choice is that I will set up everything in my own premises. So that structure is called on premise, because I'm setting up everything on my own premise. So that is called on premise infrastructure. The second choice is that organization don't want to take the overhead of setting up all the infrastructure and all, and they want to give this responsibility to the third party service provider, and those third party service providers are called cloud service providers. So these cloud service providers basically maintain your all the resources, your infrastructure, your platform, everything. You just simply need to rent access. You just simply need to give them you should simply pay them based on the consumption and based on the resources you are using. All right, so this kind of setup is called on cloud, where your all the infrastructure, all the platform is being managed by the cloud service provider. Okay, now the advantage of using this cloud service provider is that you don't need to set up everything on your own premise, because if you set up everything on your own premise, it's your responsibility to set up the admin team, to set up the networking team, to set up the security team, who will take care of all the security resources, infrastructure resources, data centers, and everything. So it will be more costly compared to the on cloud version. And on the timely manner, you have to do the maintenance as well on the timely manner. So if anything, so sometimes you find it like, any particular server is down or any particular data center is not working, so it's your own responsibility to fix that, right? So today, organization don't want to take this overhead, and they want to simply give this responsibility to the third party service provider, and these third party service providers are called cloud service provider. I'll discuss about that in the later slide, like who are those cloud service provider who can take the responsibilities to manage your resources. Okay, but before moving ahead, how the cloud service provider are managing your resources. So these cloud service providers are not only managing the resources, the infrastructure, and the platform of the single organization. They are managing the infrastructure and the platform of multiple organizations. Okay, so the organization, they simply need to purchase the resources, they want to use it. So some organization only want to set up the data center, they don't want to set up the platform. Some of the organization want to set up the platform and infrastructure both. So it's up to the organization choice. Okay, and the cloud service provider responsibility is that, so whatever resources they are giving it to the organization, you need to pay it according to the consumption and according to the resources you are buying. Okay, now you may have this question like, multiple organization using the same cloud platform, then how the confidentiality and then how the organization security will be taken care here. Okay, so basically there are three kind of clouds based on the organization requirement. So if you're using the public cloud, that means all the data of all the organization will be there on the same cloud environments. So that doesn't mean that organization A data will be shared with the organization B data. Okay, only thing is that the resources are being shared across the organization. So for example, if I talk about in the terms of Microsoft Dynamics 365. So whenever you create any trial environment or you create any Dynamics 365 licensed environment, you have to choose a particular region. Now why I have to choose the particular region? Because Microsoft has to decide, like whenever they create the organization, which particular data center they're going to use. Okay, so for example, if I'm creating the organization and I'm choosing the India region, then all the setup, all the resources will be aligned from the India data center. Okay, now this India data center is not only allocated for my own organization. This India data center will be used for all the organization that is being created within the India region. Okay, but if any organization wants to use their own cloud, and they don't want to share that resources with any other organization, then they can use the private cloud as well. Okay, and the combination of the public and the private cloud, where you will get the features of the public cloud, but the organization also want to be make sure like some of the compliance or some of the security related stuff they want to take the control over it, then they can use the hybrid cloud model as well. So this is not something that you need to dive deep into it, but just understand that cloud service provider have the choices for the organization. Either you can use the public cloud, private cloud, or the hybrid cloud. Okay, so overall, what is cloud platform? So when you set up your resources in the cloud data center, so this infrastructure or this setup is called the cloud platform. Okay, so usually in this kind of setup, companies rent access to their computing resources, like the data centers, the operating systems, their hardware, softwares, analytics, networking, everything is the responsibility of the cloud service provider. They are organizations are simply free from having to build and own data centers. They simply need to pay for the services they want to access it from the cloud service provider. All right, so I hope like you are clear with this cloud platform. Now, who are those cloud service provider who can take the responsibility to set up the infrastructure, to set up the platform, so that organization can simply start developing the softwares? So these cloud platform service providers are the Microsoft, Azure Web Services, that we also call it AWS, Google Clouds, IBM Cloud, Oracle, DigitalOcean, VMware, Alibaba Cloud. So there are a list of cloud service providers are there. So these are some of the leading a cloud provider I have taken from the internet. Like the Microsoft is the one who is the leading cloud service provider who use Azure to set up your infrastructure, your platform, and everything. Okay, then second is the Azure Web Service, and Google Cloud is on the third spot. All right, so these are all the cloud service provider. So it's up to the organization that which cloud service provider they want to use it. So since I've been working with the Microsoft Dynamics 365, Microsoft Azure, so I only wanted to discuss about the Microsoft here. Okay. Now, what is cloud platform service? Okay, so as I discussed about in my previous slide, like organization, have to set up the infrastructure, they have to set up the platform in order to start developing the application or the software for their clients. Okay, so based on the requirement, we have basically three kind of cloud services. So cloud service provider basically provide three kind of services based on the organization requirements. The first is IaaS, that is called infrastructure as a service. So in this kind of platform service, uh, the cloud service provider will only manage your infrastructure. They will not take care about your platform. They will not take care about the software or the application that you are building. They will only provide you the infrastructure. Okay, you just need to pay them based on the resources or based on the infrastructure you are using, or whatever resources you are using in that particular infrastructure. Now, once you have the infrastructure, it's your responsibility that what kind of hardware, software, operating system you're going to install it, you're going to use it on that particular infrastructure. Okay, if you want to also use the platform, then you have the platform as a service. Now in this platform as a service, you will get the infrastructure plus platform both. Okay, so now you can see here, if I'm purchasing the PaaS, that is platform as a service model, then cloud service provider will give me the development tools, database management, business analytics tools. They will provide me the operating system. They will give me the servers. They will provide me the data storage capabilities. They will also set up the networking firewalls. They will provide me the security. They will provide data centers and everything. Okay, so this is the platform as a service. But still in this particular service, you will not get the hosted application. Now, what is this hosted application? So that you will get it in the software as a service model. In the software as a service model, you will get everything. You don't need to care about anything when you are start developing the software or the application. You will get hosted application, you will get development tools, you will get operating system, you will get server, storage, networking, data center, everything. So today, if I talk about, most of the organizations are using the SaaS based applications. Okay, now what is this hosted application? Now this hosted application are the application that are ready to use. Okay, so for example, if I talk about the Outlook, okay, so when you use the Outlook, Outlook is a hosted application. It's a SaaS based application where you send the email, you receive the email, you set up the you set up the meetings, you attend the meetings, but you don't know how it is working in the background, right? Everything is hosted on the cloud. How the email is being sent from your machine, from the recipient machine, how the email is being basically, how the email is being transmitted from one network to another network, how the email is being received in your mailbox, how the meeting is being set up. Obviously there are a lot of code, there are a lot of business logic are running in the background, there are a lot of server, there are a lot of services running in the background, because when you send the email, it goes to the email gateway, then email gateway will send it to the recipient. In the similar way, when any recipient send you the email, it first goes to the email gateway, then email gateway will send you to the inbox, right? So there are a lot of process working in the background. So if you are doing it in the on-premise, you have to take care of everything. You have to set up the email gateway, you have to set up the mailbox, you have to set up, you have to create your own application, same like the Outlook. But in case of SaaS-based application, you don't need to care about that. All right. So these applications are called the hosted application. So hosted applications are basically those applications that you can simply start using it by hitting the URL on the on your browser. So these are the cloud-based applications. So you need to have the internet access in order to start using it. Okay, so in the SaaS-based platform, you will get everything. You will get infrastructure, you will get platform, so that developers can create their own applications without worrying about any installation of additional softwares and all on their local machine. Along with that, they will get the hosted applications as well that you can start using it as a ready-made applications. Okay. Now, if I elaborated it more, infrastructure as a service. So here they actually manage your infrastructure. And now on top of that infrastructure, what are the development tools, whatever deployment tools you want to set up, it's your responsibility. They will not going to provide you any kind of development resources or deployment resources. They will only provide you the server, data center, virtual machine, networking resources and all. If I talk about in the terms of Azure, I have taken this example from the Azure charts. So as you know, like in the Microsoft Azure, it is one of the leading cloud service provider, and it provides a lot of capabilities. So these are all the categorization of those capabilities. So if I talk about the infrastructure as a service, so these are all the highlighted one that you get it in your infrastructure as a service architecture. So you get all the computer related information, you will get the networking, and you will get the storage information. Okay. If I talk about the platform as a service, so in the platform as a service, you will get the infrastructure, and along with that, you will also get the development platform and the deployment platform as well. Okay, so what is the development platform? So this development platform will actually ensure that you don't need to write a lot of amount of code. You can straight away use the resources to develop your web application, your cloud application. So if I talk about the Azure API management, that is Azure APIM. Okay, if I talk about the Azure Logic Apps, okay, so these are all the platform as a services. So platform as a services means cloud service provider provides some of the resources and some of the components specifically related to the development and the deployment, so that developer can straight away start using that to design their application. Okay, so these resources are not only to develop your application, these resources can help you design the end-to-end business solution. So for example, like I have to develop the solution, so it will provide me the developer resources as well. If I have to test that application, so testing resources as well. If I have to deploy that application like DevOps, so it will also provide me uh, the deployment resources as well. Okay, so this is all about the platform as resources. So if I talk about in the terms of Azure, you will get these amount of platform as a services. So you can see here, you will get the Azure API MN, you will get the Azure CDN, you get the resource mover, you get the Azure Logic Apps, board services. So these all kind of services are considered as a platform as a service. And the last one is the software as a service. So in the software as a service, you will get the infrastructure, you will get the platform, the development platform, and on top of it, you will get the hosted applications as well. Okay, so if your organization is using software as a services cloud-based platform, that means you don't need to set up anything on your local machine. Okay, you will get everything from the cloud service provider. So you will get the infrastructure, you will get the development and the deployment platform, so that your developers can start creating their applications. So for example, like my organization has the software as a service cloud platform. That means I can simply use the Azure Logic apps. I can use the API management so that I can start developing, you know, uh, the applications without writing a much amount of code. But it gives me the flexibility to write the code as well. So it gives me all the flexibility. It will provide me the infrastructure. It will provide me the development resources. But on top of it, I will also get the cloud applications as well. Okay. So like you can consider that. But if I give you the example of all the SaaS based cloud applications, so Microsoft 365 applications that you are using, like you use the Teams for chatting, for setting up the meetings, for video calls, for normal calls, for storing the documents, files. You don't need to care about that, how Microsoft is basically managing the infrastructure, the platform and everything. You only need to open the Microsoft Teams. As long as you have the internet connectivity, you can simply open the Microsoft Teams and can start using its features. So these applications are SaaS based applications. Okay, and if you might have used the Word, Excel, PowerPoint, so these applications, when you use it on the browser, these are also the Microsoft 365 applications, are the SaaS based applications. Dynamic 365 applications. So these application I will be discussing about in my later talk show. But Dynamic 365 applications are also the SaaS based applications. So sales, marketing, customer service, customer voice, field service, fraud protection. There are a lot of list of Dynamic 365 application that we also call it as a model driven apps as well. So these applications are also the SaaS based applications. And finally, the Microsoft Power Platform. So this is the one that I'm going to discuss about it in my later section. So not the later section, in my next video, I'm going to discuss about the Microsoft Power Platform. Okay, so this Microsoft Power Platform is a SaaS based platform where Microsoft has ready-made provided all the tools, all the application, all the products for you that helps you design the end-to-end business solution. Okay, so my objective is to to provide the information about the Microsoft Power Platform and the Dynamic 365. But since these two technologies are related to the SaaS based platform, that's why I just wanted to focus my first video more on the cloud platform. All right. So if I quickly summarize our today's video, so basically the whole cloud platform consists of three things: on-premise, infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and the software as a service. So in the on-premise version, it's the organization responsibility to take care of everything. You have to set up the infrastructure, you have to set up the development, the deployment resources, and then you create your custom apps and then start using that apps. Okay, but in case of infrastructure as a service, you will give you will set up the infrastructure on the cloud. Okay, as per your choice, like which cloud service provider you want to use. But on top of that infrastructure, what development deployment resource you want to use, what apps you want to develop, that is your own responsibility. That is your own choice. Okay, but in case of platform as a service, you will get the infrastructure, you will get the deployment and development resources as well, like Azure Logic apps, like Azure APIM, Event Hub, Azure Functions. So these are the development resources you will get it. So it actually helps you to expedite your development, development of your web applications. Okay, but you don't get the cloud-based hosted application. So cloud-based hosted application I already talked about. These are the applications that are ready to use, like Microsoft Teams, CRM application, ERP application, Power Platform, and your Microsoft 365 applications like Outlook, Calendar, and all. So if you want to leverage all the features of the software development without taking care of anything on your local machine on your own premise, then you can go with the SaaS based platform, which gives you the flexibility of everything: infrastructure, development platform, your own custom application. Along with that, you have the cloud based hosted application. Okay, if you want to learn this whole cloud platform with the real time example, so I've also collected this very interesting example that I have taken it from the Azure BizTalk Read article. You can also follow that article to get this example. So if I take the example of the mode of transport, so if I use any government provided mode of transport, I don't need to worry about that. I don't need to I'm not responsible for the petrol, diesels, damage, maintenance, parking, and etc. I just wanted to use the already available transport medium that is provided by my government. I need to pay it, and I just simply need to go. All right. But if I want to have my own choice, if I want to travel to particular location, and I have to have my own choice that which transport medium I want to use, for example, Uber, Ola, or any taxi services, then it's my own choice. But still in that case, I'm not responsible for petrol, diesel, damage, maintenance, and parking. That is the platform as a service. Okay, so if I talk about the infrastructure as a service, then if I rent a car, then it's my own responsibility. That it's my own responsibility. Like I have all kind of damage, maintenance, parking cost, or the petrol, diesel. So I have to take care of it, right? So in the similar way, if I talk about in the software industries, if I'm taking the IaaS, that means I will only get the infrastructure. On top of it, whatever resources I want to use, it's my own responsibility. But in case of platform as a service, I will get some services like Azure Logic Apps, APIM, similar like the Uber or the taxi services. So I can choose from the different services available for me. Okay, but in case of SaaS, you don't have any choice. Whatever services they have provided, you don't need to worry about it. You don't need to take care about the infrastructure and all. You just simply use those services, pay for it, and go. That's it. Okay, so that's all about the today's daily talks. Hope you like this video and hope you find this information helpful for you. So in the next topic, I'm going to discuss about the Power Platform. So hope you get the understanding about the cloud platform today. So now the next topic is basically related to the SaaS based applications. Okay, so stay tuned for the next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye.